Hello and welcome back to art class. I hope everyone's doing well. I am. Today we are going to do a drawing of some flowers, and I'm going to draw it and you'll get to watch me draw it while you also draw it. So do you want to see what we're drawing today? Oops. There you go. Can you see it? So those are called buttercups. That's the kind of flower it is. Now this isn't a super realistic drawing. It doesn't look like a photograph. It's called a stylized drawing. It means we know what it's supposed to be, but it's not lifelike, okay? So here's what you're going to need for today. You are going to need a piece of paper, and you're going to need some crayons. I suggest that you use a pink, like kind of reddish, slightly purpley color. It's called red violet. A blue-green color and a yellow-green color. It's also called chartreuse. So these are the colors I suggest you use. You see them better there. If you don't have those colors, please use something close. So I'm going to start up my doc cam, and you can see the supplies that I have, and then you'll be able to see me draw. All right, just one moment. Oops. All right, so here we are. You are going to need a piece of paper. Excuse me, this is not a big piece of paper. This is a piece of paper that's about the size of your hand, okay? Your hands are smaller than mine, so probably about the size of your hand. If you only have a bigger piece of paper, that's just fine. And then here are the 4 colors I suggest that you use. If you don't have those colors, you get to pick something that you feel is closest to those. If nothing else, you can just use red, yellow, and blue. That'll work just fine. I just have these things sitting here so that my crayons don't roll away, because sometimes they do. Do you remember the other week how I showed you how I made some crayons? Well, I took some more just scraps that I had, and I made some other ones. These are kind of big. Unfortunately, you know how I say sometimes art doesn't work? Well, I had some air bubbles get in here when I made them. And what happens then is, because there's air in there, things can break more easily. So when I was coloring with this one last night, trying it out, or I shouldn't say broke, it got excited, and now it's in 2 pieces. But it still works just fine, so I'm still using it. But here's another one I did. Where's that other one? Just a moment, let me see if I can, oh, here we go. This one I just think looks really great because it has all the colors. Just looking at it, I can already see on the back of it, it's going to crack. So that's, oh, it's cracking on the front too. You see that tiny little line? It's called a hairline crack. That's when something is still attached, but you can see the crack. Nonetheless, it's kind of fun to make. So I'm just gonna keep this here so I don't misplace crayons. All right, so please press pause. And when you have your crayons and a piece of paper, then press unpause and we'll start drawing together, okay? I'll wait for you. All right, do you have all your stuff? Are you ready to go? I hope so. Let's see, I almost forgot to get my own paper. Right here, what I have right here, that's just a little piece of paper that I used to try out the colors on to see if I thought they looked good together. You don't always see me do that, but actually I usually do that when I draw. You can see my piece of paper isn't exactly the same size, and I'm sure yours isn't the same size either. That's okay, just draw what fits onto your piece of paper, all right? All right, let's start out. Let's start out by taking our red violet color. It's also sometimes called magenta, all right? So let's draw this flower right here in the middle. See how it has 5 petals? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and it's all kind of got a center point. So what I'm going to do So I'm gonna put a dot down where I want my center to be. Then I know it has 5 petals. And see how the outside of the petal is like a big U, the letter U? So I'm going to draw 5 U's, kind of like that, or like C's around that dot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you can't quite fit them, that's okay, don't worry about it. If you have a lot of extra space, you can either fill it in or just leave it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the edges of these petals and bring them all into the center without really having them touch, okay? See how I kind of made them curve in here, in, so that they don't touch? All right. Now at the corners here, I'm just going to make my color extra dark and my line extra bold or extra wide. Okay, that's just going to help it look more lifelike. It's just going to look better. All right, now I'm going to go to this flower right here. I am going to start by putting a dot right where I want that center of that flower to be. All right. And then I see this one has 5 petals too, but this flower, instead of looking at it straight on like this, we're looking at it kind of from the side like this, okay? So I have the center of my flower, and I'm gonna draw those edges of each petal. So there's 1, there's 2. See how this one's kind of got an M, like the letter? So I'm gonna do that. And then another one here, and another one here. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to draw my lines in, excuse me, but I know that some places these petals are going to touch on the edges. That's okay. All right. Oops. There we go. Again, I'm going to take this and I'm going to just kind of make it a little bit bolder color, a little richer color. Okay. That means I'm pressing harder. When you see me coloring and my hand is moving slowly, that's because I'm pressing harder and I want to keep control while I do that. All right, so 2 flowers down, 1 more to go. So let's see where it is. It's in the kind of lower left area, so just a little bit in from the lower left corner and a little bit up. I'm just going to put a dot, right? Now, see this petal on top here? It's kind of shaped like a heart, but really we're going to draw the top half of it, and the top half of it is kind of like a wide M, right? And I've got another one over here that's kind of like an M. And then I've just got a big curvy one. And over here I have 2 more petals. I have one that's just a curvy one that's a little bit like an M. All right, now that's kind of funny looking, but I'm going to have to make that work. So let's see. Drawing into the center. Well, not my best flower, but you know what? It'll work. That is an odd looking flower. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to make these a little bit bigger. There we go. You don't have to do that, only yours looks a little off. Now mine looks a little bit, the scale of it looks a little bit better. So let's see, what am I going to do now? See these little flower buds? Those are kind of shaped like eggs, aren't they? The top half is like a purple blue, and the bottom half is the stem. So I'm just going to put those in. One's kind of over here somewhere, another one here, and I've got 3 kind of up over here, and then 1 right over here. If yours aren't all in the same places as mine, don't worry about it, all right? And I know some of you will have more space or less space. Fill it in the way that you think it works best. All right, now pick up your pink. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to color the inside of these flowers pink. So let's just do that now. You color yours in while I color mine in. I'm actually going to use the back end of my crayon because it's a bigger area. So it's going to take me less time to fill it in. Just going to peel my paper down a little bit. There we go. Keep coloring, don't forget. Let's finish coloring in these petals. Wow, I'm pushing so hard, even my hand's getting sore. That's okay, that's good. I need to keep my hand muscles. All right, look at that, looking good. All right, now I'm just gonna kind of fill in these little upside down U's. All right, there we go. Let's see, what is next? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get my very light yellow green out. And actually, this is Ms. Phillips' favorite color, chartreuse. And I'm going to use this to make some of my stems and leaves. I'm going to start off by looking at each of these flowers here. See how it's got a stem going down from it? So wherever the flower ends is where I'm going to draw a line straight down. If there's something in the way, just skip that area and then keep going. All right, now see all these little flower buds, the tops? I'm just going to make the bottom half of it now. All right. Now I'm going to bring those lines, work them down, because they're connected to something, probably another stem or something. All right. There we go. Now I've got some leaves throughout here. Where your leaves fit might be different than where mine fit. So just kind of look at your drawing and decide where you have some gaps and you want to fill those in a little bit. To draw a leaf, I'm going to draw the center line of the leaf. Okay, this line. And then a little bit out from it, I'm going to just make some zigzag lines. Okay. Now leaves are kind of shaped like this. They kind of come out and go back into the stem. So that's why mine comes out like that. Over here, I'm just going to imply there's a leaf over there somewhere. Maybe right here too. I don't have a lot of space for leaves on mine. And that's okay. All right, once I've done that, let's color in the leaves a little bit. There we go. Now, it's time to get out your blue-green or turquoise, all right? Let's start in the upper left-hand corner and draw a line around our little flower buds. All right, now in the middle, let's kind of give a little wavy line in between those two colors. Let's do the same to the flower bud over here. And down here. All right, I think I got all my flower buds. Now I'm going to draw my stems and give some details to those leaves. So let's start with the leaves. I'm going to redraw that center line. Then I'm going to look at where my jagged line is and go over it with this color. This is helping give us some detail. Do that to all of your leaves. I know you might still be working on that, but when you're done, you can put some little lines coming out from the middle of your leaf, kind of towards these pointy ends. You don't have to, but you can. Then, wherever your flower stems are, just go over your stems with this blue-green color, okay? I added a little bit of a V here just to make it look like it has a little bit more connection with the stem. Then at the center of each of your flowers, use this turquoise or blue-green color. Just kind of draw a line hard and then lightening up out from the center of it. Doesn't have to be really bold. Just want to see a little bit of it. And do that to each of your flowers. All right. Now that I've done that on the outer edge, I'm just going to give a little bit of a line. It's just going to help define it and have it show more of a difference between it and the background. There we go. And if you want to, there's two other things you can do. Or you can just be done. You can take a peach, kind of color the peach a little bit on the tips of the flowers. Careful if there's some blue there, you don't get it all in the blue. But it can help give it a little bit more interest to look at. See how that looks different from this one? And then there's one other thing you can do if you want. All right. If you want, you can find a yellow, excuse me, and kind of lightly, you can just kind of make light fill-ins in the space where there isn't anything going on. It's just going to fill it in a little bit so it just doesn't look like white paper. It'll look more like a whole, complete drawing. All right, that didn't take me long and it just gives it a little bit more flavor. Now, don't forget, get a crayon and somewhere in here, put your name. So I'm going to put is Cordova. All right, and if you want, you can put the year so that someday you can look back at it and remember when you drew it. So 2020. Oh, you know what? There's something I forgot to do. I forgot to put the little centers in the flowers. So I'm going to make some circles here with the blue-green. And then I'm just going to draw a line to the center of the flower on each one of these. There we go. I'm going to do 3 here. 1, 2, 3. Boop. And I'm going to do 3 down here. There we go. Looks a little bit more real, doesn't it? Or at least it looks more fun. I hope you had fun with our drawings.